Are you a business owner or employee who needs to network but is terrified of walking into a room full of people you don't know? Are you afraid of being left out of conversations or being awkward in the conversations you do have? Your tour guide, Faithann, is here to walk alongside you through the networking terrain, offering tips and tricks to network with ease. Grab your sunscreen and suitcase. Faithann is ready. Are you?
Welcome, new and returning listeners. I'm your host, Faithann. You've found the place to get your networking questions answered, one episode at a time. Let's dive into episode 62. This episode is another solo episode, and I want to add a couple of thoughts that I had around networking in rooms where people do what you do from last episode, episode 61. I gave some tips to an imaginary client of mine, Beth, about how to network in rooms where other people did what she did. And in my example, Beth was a photographer. After giving her some suggestions to join industry exclusive groups, if that wasn't an option for her, I gave her some other suggestions about how to network in rooms where she was going to have to deal with the fact that other people did what she did. A couple of the suggestions I gave her were around her pitch time, that time in the meeting where we stand up, we have the undivided attention of the room. And she would stand up and introduce herself and ask for a kind of referral that would be beneficial for her business. One of the tips that I gave was that she could reference the other photographer in the room during her pitch. And I want to add a little caveat to that. If you find yourself in this situation as my imaginary client, Beth, and you only have 30 seconds to introduce yourself, then you don't have enough time to reference anyone else during your pitch. So, my recommendation in that case would just be to talk only about you because 30 seconds or 45 seconds goes by quick. If you have a minute or more, and the other photographer, for example, said something that was really poignant that you could add to, then you could reference that other photographer. And one of the things that I said in episode 61 is that it teaches the room that you're coming from a place of abundance, that you're willing to build rapport with anyone, and you're willing to give shout outs to people no matter who they are, if they're doing things that you like or saying things that are helpful. Now, here is another suggestion. If you find yourself in rooms with people who do what you do, when it comes to the introduction time or the pitch time, you could talk about a completely different facet of the industry as a way to set yourself apart. For example, if you're an insurance agent and the other insurance agent is talking about life insurance, then you could decide, I'm going to talk about auto insurance. This is why it's such a great idea to have more than one pitch in your back pocket that you can pull out that is tailored to the circumstances that you find yourself in these meetings. I wanted to add those tips. Now, here's one final tip when it comes to people who are in the room that do what you do. If your introduction time is 45 seconds or less, you're going to highlight only what you do, and preferably if you can pick up on a specific aspect of your business that's different to the other person who does what you do. You aren't going to be able to reference them, but here's one thing you could do as well is before or after the meeting, go and talk to those people who do what you do. Be seen talking to them and genuinely talk to those other photographers, those other insurance agents. That will also teach the room that you're open. You could even find some other person to introduce those other professionals who do what you do. You could find another person in the room to introduce them to. This again is teaching that you're coming from a place of abundance. And one quick reminder, I've never been told this, so this may be really unique and different for a lot of you who are listening, so it's worth repeating. Before you get too wrapped up in the competition, quote unquote, aspect of this networking, when you learn that there are other people who do what you do, before you get too wrapped up in those other people who do what you do that are in the room at the time, remember that all of us have other people who could do what you do that just aren't in the room at the time. That's why it's so important to think about the race to positive interactions as your guide, instead of trying to always be the only person that someone knows in your profession. It's an unrealistic expectation. So you have to embrace the competition, quote unquote, embrace that there are other people who do what you do, who are going to be networking alongside you. And so go back to episode 61. You'll find a lot of good strategies to network with those people who do what you do. What I wanted to now talk about in this episode is a graceful way to decline an invitation to either do something with somebody else. Someone has invited you to their event, or if someone has invited you to jump on a discovery call and you really haven't gone through the steps and you haven't really expressed interest, and so it's a weird request. So I'll be going over both situations, either being invited to an event or being invited to hop on a discovery call for a product or service that you haven't expressed an interest in. But the invitation comes from somebody that you network with regularly. So you don't want to just flat out say no and leave it at that. So events first. Think of the acronym DEAF. DEAF. This will help you. If you want to decline an invitation so gracefully that people feel like they're in an inner tube floating down a lazy river towards you, here's what you can do. First off, decline first, so that the end of the conversation isn't the rejection. That happens right away. I'm sorry, Mary, I can't come to your lunch and learn. D, decline first. E, engage. And declining first will mean that you are more likely to engage, because nobody wants to end a conversation with just, no, I can't, and leave it at that. So when you decline first, it's more likely that you will engage further. So engage. And one of the things that you'll do when you engage is you thank them for inviting you. Most of us thank first and then decline. And so the end of the conversation is the decline, the rejection. Decline first, then thank them for inviting you, and genuinely thank them. Be genuinely grateful that there are people in your life who want you to be around them. And I'm even talking about something that's paid. Still, they have many choices and they thought of you, especially if it's a personal invitation, a personal message or text or call. So you're going to D, decline first. E, engage. Thank you so much for thinking of me. Wow. I'm so honored that you thought of me. Then ask a question. Is this the first lunch and learn you've ever hosted? What made you decide to host this lunch and learn? Or if they're inviting you to accompany them to something, what made you want to go to this conference? What are you most excited about when you're thinking about this conference? There are lots of questions. Just a question about the event itself, either as they're hosting or attending. Ask a question, because that keeps the conversation going and it helps them accept your rejection. I mean, rejection's a really hard word. You're not rejecting them. It helps them accept that you have to decline. And the magic to all of this is F, follow up. Put the event in your calendar or set a reminder on your phone of when that event is that you've been invited to that you cannot accept. And then send them a message after the event and ask, how did it go? And they will appreciate that. And sometimes these people who are inviting you to things are prospects, and that will bring them to you on a lazy river They'll be so grateful that you really are caring about them, that when they're ready to work with you, they're going to run to you because you have treated them so well. And I do think I may have mentioned the follow-up before, and I can't remember if it's been on the podcast or in the Facebook group during a live at 5. I don't know, but worth repeating. DEAF, decline first, engage by thanking them, and then ask a question about the event that you're being invited to, and then follow up after the event with a how did it go?
Have you ever had this happen? You're chatting with someone at a networking event, and they say, "I've been needing help with that," or "I've been meaning to reach out to someone like you." You smile and later think, wait, was that a buying signal? Most networkers miss these moments, not from inexperience, but because no one ever taught what buying signals actually sound like. That's why Faithann is hosting a new mastermind, Buying Signals for Networkers, based on Nikki Rausch's book, Buying Signals. In this small group, you'll learn the exact phrases people use when they're ready to work with you and get guided practice so responding with confidence becomes second nature. With both in-person and virtual options available, you can join from anywhere. The waitlist is open now. Waitlisters get early access and special pricing. Tap the link in the show notes to save your spot.
Now here's what to do if you have to decline a next step that someone has issued you that you haven't really been curious about. And this may be hard to do at first. My thinking is I can listen to people pitch to me as long as we're not talking about an hour and a half thing, even if I'm not interested, if I think that there's a way I can refer them. So this is a really nice way to be able to listen to people tell you specifically about how they work with people in a kind of more of a sales situation. If you know that you're listening so that you can listen for referrals for them. If there's no way that you can see yourself referring this product or service, and if you don't have a great deal of rapport with the person who's asked you if they can pitch to you, then I think it's better to decline. So here's the conditions in which I would decline a discovery call or a call where we're specifically there for me to decide if I want to take a next step with somebody. The first would be a cold reach out. And those you can just ignore. And we all get pitched to through email and through other ways all the time. And those are easy to ignore. If it's in person and it's just very quick, just look at them and smile and say, no, thank you. That's all you need to do. If I'm being invited to a discovery call from someone that I do have rapport with, and I don't think that I can refer that person, and I'm not curious about their product or service, then I would decline that because I don't want to waste their time. And if I'm not curious about what they do, about what it would be like to work with them, and I can't really see a way to refer, and I'm not curious about if there might be a way to refer, I would decline it. And I think I would just say, if it was in person, I would say, I'm sorry, I'm not interested right now. Thank you, though, for thinking of me. And then I would ask a question. I think I would ask, what's your favorite kind of client? And that's a polite way to keep the conversation moving forward, but still honor the circumstance that is inevitably going to happen is that time's going to be wasted. Having said all of that, it would take a lot for all of those conditions to be met for me. I love referring other people, so it's going to be rare that I would not even want to hear more because there's no way I can refer anyone. That would be rare. So what does that mean? It means that most times I'm going to be open to that idea because I might think there's a referral opportunity here. And when I'm open to referring others, it does make those invitations to get on a call a lot easier. I would not invite somebody to a discovery call that has not expressed curiosity about what I do, has not asked questions about how to work with me. I wouldn't do that. I would, though, get on such a call if I thought there was a way I might be able to refer them. So it's so nice to learn the skill of passing a referral. It really helps you out in so many ways of building cheerleaders for your brand, building relationships that last. And this other way is I don't have to be the person that dreads being pitched to, because I have this other way to think about it. I don't have to get all anxious. Well, I'm going to have to turn this person down. I'm not interested in what they have to offer me. And most people, that's all they have. It's just, I'm interested or I'm not interested. Those are the only two choices. I have a third choice. I'm not interested, and there may be people in my life who would be interested, so I can learn more. And then I would advise, if you aren't interested at the end of this process, then you're going to have to say, this isn't for me. I'm happy, though, to keep my ears open for opportunities to refer. And if they have not laid out during this call that you're on, if they have not laid out the picture of who they can help, what an ideal referral looks like, then you can ask. Now, this isn't for me. Thank you for letting me know about this. And if I were going to refer somebody, what would that person be saying that would let me know this would be a good fit for them, that you would be a good fit for them? What would the people in my life be saying or doing? Okay? So at least you make them help you out a bit, and then just be honest about whatever next step happens at the end of this discovery call or this pitch call. Be honest about where you're at. Be honest with them. Don't say, well, I need to think about it, knowing that you're not going to think about it. If you're not going to consider it, don't tell them that you're going to consider it. Say, I'm not interested. This isn't for me. And who would make a good referral for you? Because I would enjoy the opportunity to pass a referral. That's a great way to end if you're not interested. If you are interested and it's a not right now, you can say, I think I would like to think about this. And don't leave them hanging. Now, if they're good at what they do, they will say, great, let's schedule that follow-up call where we can answer any final questions that you may have, and then honor that follow-up call and make a decision. So don't leave them hanging, because we don't like it when other people leave us hanging. Just be honest. And maybe I've given you some ideas about how you can still listen to people, tell you in detail how they help people, and tell you their pricing without feeling like at the end of this call you have to decide if you're going to use this person or not. I've given you another way, another option, which is I could refer. Another thing you could do is, if you are in a weekly industry exclusive group, you could listen to their presentation and then invite them to your group. I'm not interested right now. Would you be open to coming to my referral group? Because there are other business owners in the room and they might be interested. So you can invite them to your referral group. If you go to a chamber or another type of group that's open to all, you can invite them. That would also be a great way to not have to just say no and that be the end of it. You can invite them. Now, there are times where we should issue invitations to others to take the next step with us when they are giving us buying signals. And sometimes at networking meetings, people give us buying signals. There'll be a link in the show notes for the Buying Signals for Networkers Mastermind that's happening in early February. I would love to invite you to that. I have an in-person and a virtual option. So even if you don't live in the Oklahoma City metro, you can still participate in this Buying Signals Mastermind based on Nikki Rausch's book, Buying Signals. So you don't miss out on opportunities to invite the people that you network with to the next step of your sales process. Go and network, my friend, and decline with grace those events or calls that you have to decline. You can still maintain rapport and make it easy for people if at a later time they want to work with you by remembering the DEAF, DEAF, and being open to being on discovery calls with the idea that you could refer that person, even if it's not something that you're interested in.
You've been listening to the Networkers Tour Guide podcast with Faithann Basor. Share this episode with a friend and be sure to come back next week for more networking tips and tricks from the Networkers Tour Guide.